I'm in this very quiet lounge right now in a platinum class cinema. Sitting, as you can see, alone by myself. It's an early morning. I managed to get in here. Anyway, this is my second part of my report on the unbecoming attitude and the obnoxious repugnance of all the Christians in the churches here in Singapore. The first time it happened was, okay, let's talk about Bethel Presbyterian Church. The most disgusting hostility emitting from all these people here. The first time around was on a Saturday, if I'm not wrong. I was waiting for the service, to join the service on a Saturday with Pastor Mui Kiang. So while waiting for her, this guy, Chinese guy, tall, bespectacled, was walking around the area, occasionally glaring at me. Didn't want to say hello, didn't want to say anything at all. So I just kept quiet, but I kept my peace. I was being pleasant enough to occasionally smile if he looked my way. He continued his little parade around the area of where I am. You could feel the vibes was not positive, it was negative. The kind of, what are you doing here? And he wanted to ask that question. So I think he's at the tip of his tongue. So, I might as well just clear it with him. I left my bags in the chapel and I came out after him and I smiled and said, hi. He says, what are you doing here? What are you waiting for? There was no introduction. There was no self-introduction. There was no hello. There was no good morning. There was nothing. He would just say, what are you doing here? Who are you waiting for? And I said, oh, no, I'm actually waiting to join the service by Pastor Mui Kiang. And I said it very pleasantly. Now, he asked me several times, same questions, different way, hoping for a different answer each time. And my patience was really clearly running out because he was trying to find a way to nitpick on my presence there in order to get me out of the place. Okay, so at one point, I just had enough of his questioning, or rather interrogation, and I just chose to ignore answering him because it's the same questions, it's a different way of asking, okay? I say, so what did she say? How do you want to meet her? And things like that. He says, how do I want to meet her? Use your brains. I'm already here waiting for her. How do I want to meet her? And then, does she know you're here? Have you caught her yet? Questions like that. Does she know you're here? Have you caught her yet? Blah, 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 things like that. So at one point, I have enough answering his interrogation and I just ignore his question. And he knew it. He knew that he was being stupid about that. And he turned away quietly and he left me there. Second time was so insignificant actually. The second time was I was down to collect my Grab food. Now I was down in the front of the chapel because I couldn't get the food deliverer to send it on the right side if I'm facing the main. So because there's a child care day center there, and the paranoid so-called child care workers felt that any strangers are an endangerment to their children there. Their paranoia. So I had to be in front of the church. I was down it was just less than 5 minutes waiting for my food to come, and I could see from the GPS he was heading my direction. There was a Caucasian guy who donated, some plush toys or whatever it is, and he questioned him like he just left a bomb there. So the Caucasian guy looked at me and said, what the F? What the fuck? And I just shrugged it and looked at him and says, this is how it goes in Singapore, paranoia. And then this guy looked at me in my direction, walked right up to me, knowing that he has met me before. He could have said hello. He did not even say hello. He did not even say anything. He just kept, hey, what's your name? Wow. I mean, where did he get off? Where did he really get off, huh? Who the fuck he think he is? So I looked at him and says, I don't have to answer your question. I don't have to give you my name. I don't have to give you my name. You have to. This is my church. I say, I'm sorry, your church, you own this church? No, you don't own this church. You told me you're the church manager. You run this church. You don't own this church. And I don't have to give you my name because, yeah, but you're here. I'm here for my worship. I'm not here to register for your so-called membership. I didn't know Christianity had membership too. So I'm just here to worship and on my way. And in fact, I'm not even worshiping, honestly, but I said it just to make a point. I was just going to grab my food and be off, And he was clearly ranting and bickering away like a cunt. So I said, I don't have to, and this conversation is over. You have asked me several times the same question twice over, hoping for a different answer. And this time, I'm not going to entertain you anymore. He says, you have to. I have my jurisdiction, I told him, where even the prime minister cannot touch. Okay? So you don't come to me with an attitude like that, I told him. Be gone. I'm not going to tolerate your repugnance and your impertinence. So he says, you said you know Mui Kiang, right? And then he changed the topic and says, you know Mui Kiang, right? And then I rebutted him. I said, since you know that I know Mui Kiang, then why do you ask me questions to which you already know the answer? It's a rhetorical question, isn't it? So he says he's going to call her. So he threatened to call her. I said, please do call her. Okay, but you're in my face. Now get out of my face. Okay, walk away. And if you're not happy with me, you can call the police. I'll be more than happy to answer all the police questions. He says, yes, I'll do that. So, he walked off and he called her and stood right in front of me to call her. He came back and to let me know he called her, and he was cussing away. I think he was like, and then, Mui Kiang was, I don't know, she was retorting back to him, and he ended up having a little debate with her, an argument actually. Sounds more like an argument to me on the phone. And I was so tempted to walk up to him and say, let me speak to Mui Kiang. But I did not do that because I didn't want to contaminate myself going near this scumbag. So what happened next was my food came. Then he came to a realization that, I was just waiting for my food to arrive. And then my food arrived, I paid, and I wanted to go, but because of his attitude, his condescending, shrill tone and his attitude that he looks down on people. He thinks that, people who doesn't drive, who doesn't own a Mercedes or something like that are not entitled to be there or something like that. I don't know. He was so condescending. He thinks that maybe because I'm a homeless guy, there's another block, there's a lot of homeless people staying there at the block. So he assumed I'm one of them. And he knows probably that I do crash there. And he's unhappy about that. So I stood there for a while and he disappeared. So when he disappeared, I went back. I went off. Now, yesterday, then Mui Kiang, the pastor, sent me a message telling me to give him the due respect and things like that. And I told her off. I told her that, look, respect is mutual. Okay, kindness begets kindness. Respect is both ways. Okay, if he wants a polite answer, then he has to be polite himself in his question. He don't just come up to the person and interrogate the person. Not even the police does that. I mean, who the F he think he is? He walk up to the person, hey, what's your name? I mean, who the fuck you think he is? This guy clearly has issues. He's got terrible manners and things like that. So yesterday, again, the same thing happened. He was not there. It was raining, and I didn't know where else to pick up my food, short of standing in the middle of the road and getting drenched, by the rain. So I ran to the church, which I was around the area, and I was in the church. I was waiting for my stuff again. So this Filipino maid saw me, recognized me, and quickly got on her cell phone, and called this guy, the manager. His name is Melvin Heng. And just hearing from her alone, he was not happy. Okay, he pounced on me like a cougar on its prey. He immediately after, later in the evening, about 4 p.m., he notified Pastor Mui Kiang that he saw me at the basement or something like that, because Mui Kiang question to me was, were you at the basement today? And I said, no, I was not at the basement. At what time? And she says, 4 p.m. I said, I was never there. And she said, okay, then I provided the answer. I told her that I was there during noontime to pick up my food, and I saw the guy in crutches, one of the homeless guy in crutches, sitting there too, and there was nothing wrong. So what is wrong with me picking up my food there? And she says, no problem. She says, no problem. Okay, you're going to see I'm going to have a screenshot of that conversation I had with her. So the first time she said, no problem. Okay, no problem. You can even eat there outside the chapel, outside the sanctuary, and you can eat there where people do that. It's a canteen. After she got on the phone to clarify with the church manager, she got back to me again and says, I'm asking if he can even allow you to eat at the basement. So now he doesn't want me to eat in the canteen, where so many other people can eat at a canteen, where even a homeless guy can even eat at a canteen. He doesn't want me eating at a canteen. And then he suggested, he's still in debate with her whether he should allow me to eat at the basement, in the basement, how you call that, in or at the basement of the church. So I have to walk a distance to walk down the stairs to eat at the basement, which is filled with filth, okay, cobwebs and things like that, which was not cleaned at all. He wanted me to do that. That was the last straw. I mean, how mean and demeaning can you be? He made it so personal, and it felt very, very personal with me, because what did I ever do to you? You know, you came on to me with an attitude, you know, and then first time I let it ride. The second time you were so rude, not even a hello, not even anything at all. And then I told you I'm not going to give you a name. I didn't even scold him. And he was bickering and cussing away and everything and ranting like a rabid dog, actually, with Pastor Mui Kiang. And after that, he disappeared. Not even say, okay, have a good day. Nothing. He was just so rude. And then I had enough. That was the last straw when he said that I could not eat at the canteen. I have to go down to the basement, and he's still considering whether he's going to let me eat at the basement. So that was the last straw, okay? You don't demean a person down like that, okay? And if he's going to start disrespecting me, I'm going to give it to him. And I gave it to him. I wrote a long email to him, telling him what I think of him, of course, minus the profanity. I didn't have to use profanity. I've studied the unabridged version of the William Shakespeare 32 poems, plays, and sonnets, and the Hardy Boys and things like that, the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, enough to use my words to slap him on the face. So I gave him a long email telling him what I think about him, his callous, obnoxious, repugnant attitude, his feeble and diminutive brain who cannot encompass the dynamics and technicalities of human life, okay, and his egotistical bullying of people whom he thinks are quiet and soft. Is actually a full substitute for intelligence. I gave it to him, okay, which supersedes, of course, his credibility in this life. I even told him that he's a disgrace, an embarrassment, and an abomination to Christianity and humanity itself. You should read the email I sent to him. Oh, that was a left-right slap and an uppercut to him. And of course, it has its repercussion, because it went back to Pastor Mui Kiang, and she strenuously rejected my email. She says it's untrue, it's uncalled for, and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. She's pissed off. Well, good for her too, because you have the audacity to carry what he said to me, that I should eat at the basement. From the canteen, you asked me to go away and eat at the basement. It's better for you just to keep your mouth shut and not tell me to eat at the basement than to tell me, go eat at the basement. Okay, how demeaning and how humiliating you want a person to be, huh? So clearly this guy was exercising, flexing his authority muscles and things like that. And I'm going to put him in his place. And I did that. I did that without any single profanity or vulgarities. I did that civilly. Okay, but my choice of vocabulary were clearly very chosen. And I'm just merely stating the facts. They couldn't take it. She said she couldn't take it. She said, it's uncalled for, it's untrue. What is so untrue? You just told me to go down to the basement. You keep nitpicking at me for the last 3 days. For the goddamn last 3 days. You don't let it go. He doesn't want to let it go. It's over. Come on, get over it, you know. Let it ride. He couldn't let it ride. He just couldn't. He just wanted to nitpick. He thinks. So I did send in one of my sentences, I said, do not let my soft demeanor into fooling you that I'm an easy guy to bully. Okay, I said that to him, words to the effect. I told him that I speak softly, but I carry a big stick. So ponder on that. Anyway, so now I'm in their bad books, and I don't give a fuck about that. All right. He deserves it. Every single word I said to him, and more actually. I would have called him a rabid dog howling and screeching like a hyena in heat too if he goes on again with his terror. So anyway, I don't think he will. But if he does reply me, then let's see. But coward as he is, there's another thug over on a homeless guy. This guy he looks every inch a thug. Doesn't speak good English at all. Speaks more of a Hokkien. You know, he struts around to the front of the church, plunge himself under the bench, light up his cigarette, and fack away like a bloody chimney. And you know what? This chicken shit of a manager, that coward, he wouldn't even dare to confront him and approach him and tell him to shut it. He wouldn't dare to. He wouldn't dare to approach him and ask him, what's your name? You know, he wouldn't dare to do anything to this guy because he knows if he opened his yep too big, he's going to get whooped. So, but he thinks a quiet person like me who sit quietly in the chapel on a bench, saying my prayers to God quietly, he thinks I'm easy meat. And that's why he decided to flex his muscles on me. Well, now he knows. The pen is mightier than the sword, but I would not hesitate to use my sword if he keeps pushing it. Anyway, this is my video, my take on Bethel Presbyterian Church, my altercation with this stupid, idiotic church manager called Melvin Heng. Okay, he's a total asshole, okay, to say the least. Anyway, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't care. You know, 你有本事你请放马过来吧，我让你心服口服. I don't give a damn what they're going to do. Okay, just bring it on, all right? Who the fuck do they think they are? You know, if you don't want to help people, then don't hurt people. But you're just flexing your muscles, pushing people around. You're just pushing and pushing. And you know, they keep pushing and pushing me. And when I push back, I push so hard, they start to, you know, play victim to circumstances they created themselves. So that's about it. Take care. Bye.